Hey, you're here. And that is enough. I don't know what brought you to this moment. I don't know the exact shape of the ache you're carrying. But I know what it feels like to need somewhere quiet. Somewhere that doesn't demand anything. Somewhere that doesn't ask for performance. This is that place. This voice, right now, it isn't here to fix you. It's just here to stay. You've probably spent so much time pretending. Pretending to be fine. Pretending to be capable. Pretending you're not tired. You keep showing up. Even when no one sees the effort it takes. Even when you're running on empty. Even when you're silently screaming inside. But not here. You don't need to pretend here. You don't need to be strong. You don't need to have it all together. You don't need to be healing, or thriving, or even hopeful. You just need to be exactly as you are. Whatever version of you showed up, the anxious one, the numb one, the heartbroken one, the one that hasn't cried in months, or the one that can't seem to stop crying, they're all welcome. You don't need to shrink to be safe here. You don't need to disappear to be accepted. You don't need to impress or entertain or be useful. You're allowed to take up space. Even when you don't feel like you deserve it. Even when the world makes you feel like a burden. You're not a burden. Let me say that again. You are not a burden. You've been carrying so much. And maybe you've been doing it alone. Maybe you got used to silence. Maybe you convinced yourself that no one would understand. But I want you to know something. Just because they didn't see it, doesn't mean it wasn't heavy. Just because they didn't listen, doesn't mean your pain was quiet. And just because you made it look easy, doesn't mean it was. You learn to cope. You learn to mask. You learn to get through it. But getting through isn't the same as being okay. And you're allowed to not be okay. You're allowed to feel overwhelmed by things that shouldn't matter. You're allowed to feel stuck even when life looks fine on the outside. You're allowed to feel broken, even if you know you're not. And you're allowed to want someone, anyone, to just sit with you, to not fix it, to not offer advice, to just stay. That's what this space is. It's not therapy. It's not self-help. It's just presence. It's the feeling of someone sitting beside you in a dark room, saying, "I don't need you to talk. I'm just here." So, here's what I want you to try, just for now, just for the next few minutes. Don't perform. Don't strive. Don't resist. Just breathe. Let yourself exist here. In this moment. With this voice. If your thoughts wander, that's okay. If your chest feels heavy, that's okay. If you feel nothing at all, that's okay too. This isn't about changing anything. It's about letting. Letting yourself pause. Letting yourself soften. Letting yourself be exactly where you are. No pressure. No progress. Just presence. You've been so many versions of strong. You've held your own hand through storms no one else even saw. You've walked through days where it took everything just to get out of bed. That strength deserves rest. That pain deserves compassion. You deserve softness. I'm not here to tell you it'll all get better overnight. I'm not here to pretend things aren't hard. But I am here to remind you that it's okay to stop running. That you don't have to outrun your emotions. That stillness isn't the enemy. Right now, there is nothing expected of you. You're not behind. You're not late. You're not failing. You're just human. And being human is hard sometimes. There's no checklist for this moment. No productivity hack. No solution. Just breath. And presence. And a voice, mine, staying here with you. You're doing more than you think by just staying here. You're already enough by just being. So let yourself be. Here, now, exactly as you are. And if all you do is breathe and exist in this space for a little while longer, that's enough. You are enough. You've been tired for a long time, haven't you? Not the kind of tired that sleep can fix. Not the kind that goes away after a nap or a weekend off. This is something deeper. Something older. It's the kind of tired that lives in your bones. In the pauses between your thoughts. In the way you breathe without even noticing that you're holding your breath. It's not just exhaustion. It's survival. You've been surviving for so long that exhaustion has become a background noise. A hum beneath every conversation. Every task, every smile. You wake up already overwhelmed. You go to sleep unsure if you've done enough. Even your rest doesn't feel restful. That's not laziness. That's not failure. That's what happens when your nervous system has been on high alert for too long. You've trained yourself to respond, to adapt, to keep going, no matter what. You've taught yourself how to show up even when you're running on fumes. Because life demanded it. Because people expected it. Because maybe, for a while, it was the only way you knew how to survive. But even machines wear out. And you're not a machine. You're a person. A human. With limits. With needs. With a body that keeps trying to whisper, "Please slow down." But no one taught you how to listen to that voice. They only taught you how to override it. How to hustle, how to achieve, how to be resilient. But resilience without rest becomes damage. Persistence without pause becomes pain. And maybe you're here right now, because that pain has started to rise to the surface. Not always loudly, sometimes just a tightness in your chest, a blankness in your thoughts, a weight that never seems to lift. This is your nervous system saying, "I can't carry this anymore." But here's the truth they never told you: you're allowed to stop. You're allowed to say, "I'm not okay." You're allowed to feel what you feel, even if it's messy, even if it doesn't make sense. There are no medals for being the most exhausted person in the room. There are no trophies for pretending the longest. So right now, you don't need to pretend. You don't need to filter your truth. You don't need to minimize what you've carried. Let's name it, out loud, together. You are tired. Tired of being strong. Tired of being silent. Tired of smiling when your heart feels hollow. Tired of carrying emotions no one ever acknowledged. Maybe you're tired of being the reliable one. The calm one. The one who never gets to fall apart. And here's the thing, when no one checks on the strong one suffers silently. You've kept your world from collapsing, sometimes at the cost of your own sanity. You've soothed others while swallowing your own panic. You've shown up for people who never noticed you were breaking. And it's left you exhausted in ways you can't explain. Because how do you describe a fatigue that's not in your muscles, but in your soul? You're not crazy. You're not overreacting. You're just tired. And naming that is not weakness, it's courage. So here, in this moment, with no one else watching, you can say it, I am tired. Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You're allowed to be tired of trying. Tired of being misunderstood. Tired of holding it all in. Tired of being the one who always figures it out. You don't always have to be the one fixing everything. You don't have to hold the world together by yourself. You are allowed to collapse, to exhale, to not be okay. If no one ever gave you permission to fall apart, let this voice be the one that does. If no one ever said, hey, you don't have to do it all, let this space be where you finally hear it. You don't have to do it all. You don't have to carry every burden. You don't have to be the hero of every story. You just have to be human. And being human means sometimes you are a mess. Sometimes you are confused. Sometimes you're just getting through the day. And all of that is okay. The tiredness you feel isn't random. It's accumulated from years of showing up when you didn't feel like it. From years of suppressing feelings you didn't have time to feel. From years of chasing normal when your heart was screaming for rest. Let that sink in for a moment. You've been holding your breath for years. In relationships, in deadlines, in traffic, in conversations where you smiled instead of crying. So if your body is aching, if your soul feels foggy, if your eyes don't light up like they used to, you're not broken. You're just overdue for rest, real rest. The kind of rest that doesn't involve running errands or checking off a to-do list. The kind that says, I don't need to earn this. I'm allowed to just be. You're allowed to be unproductive and still be worthy. You're allowed to pause without guilt. There's no scoreboard here. No one wins by suffering more. So you can lay your weapons down. Your calendar, your defenses, your need to prove you're okay. Here you are allowed to be soft. And maybe, just maybe, this is where the healing begins. Not with doing, not with fixing, but with naming. You're exhausted, and it makes perfect sense. Let's talk about something that lives in the quiet. Something that creeps in slowly, but settles deeply. Shame and guilt. They don't always announce themselves. They don't always come in loud. Sometimes they're whispers. Sometimes they're just a feeling in your stomach. Sometimes they're thoughts that say, why are you like this? You should be better by now. You're too much. You're not enough. Maybe you know that voice. Maybe it's been with you for a long time. Maybe it's the first one to speak when something goes wrong. But here's the truth that shame doesn't want you to hear. You are not your mistakes. You are not your worst day. You are not the thing you regret. Shame tries to make you believe that you are unworthy, that something is wrong with you at your core, that if people really knew you, they'd leave. But they don't know the full story. They don't know the context, the history, the pressure, the wounds. They don't know what you've had to survive. They only see the surface, the reaction, the silence. So I want to say something that might feel hard to accept. You deserve compassion, even if you don't think you've earned it. You deserve forgiveness, even if you're still learning how to give it to yourself. Let's slow this down. Let's name the feelings that sit underneath your skin. The guilt over what you said, the shame over what you didn't. The things you wish you could take back, the moments that still haunt you at 2 a.m. Let's be honest, you've been punishing yourself for things you did while trying to survive. You weren't perfect, you weren't always kind, you didn't always make the right choice. But you were doing the best you could, with the awareness you had, and the pain you were carrying. That doesn't make it okay, it just makes it human. And humans, they mess up. They lash out, they numb out, they shut down, they run, they lie, they avoid. But those actions don't define your worth. You are not the worst thing you've done. And you are not the worst thing that's been done to you. Let me repeat that, because shame is loud. You are not the worst thing you've done. You are not the worst thing that's been done to you. You are allowed to change, to grow, to repair, to learn, to soften. Guilt can be a teacher, but shame is just a cage. Guilt says, that action was wrong. Shame says, you are wrong. Only one of those helps you grow. So if you've been living in shame, believing you're unlovable, unfixable, undeserving, I want to offer something different. A new lens, a different voice, one that says, you are not broken. You are becoming. Maybe no one ever taught you how to process guilt. Maybe you learned to bury it, to turn it inward, to let it fester. But what if guilt was just a sign that you care? That something mattered to you, that you wanted to be better. It's not meant to be a sentence. It's meant to be a signal. So here, in this moment, can you try something with me? Can you imagine putting your hand over your chest? Just lightly, just enough to feel the warmth of your own skin. And then say, in your own way, I did the best I could. I'm allowed to grow. I'm allowed to forgive myself. Even if it feels strange. Even if your mind resists it. Even if part of you doesn't believe it yet. Say it anyway, because repetition becomes belief. You have carried guilt like a weight. Let this be the moment you begin to set it down. Not all at once, not forever, just for now. Just long enough to breathe a little deeper. To take up a little more space. To remember that healing is still possible. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be real. And real people make real mistakes. What matters more is what you do next. What you choose from here, how you speak to yourself in the silence. So if the guilt shows up again, and it probably will, you don't have to fight it. You can meet it with honesty, with softness, with a voice that says, yes, I see you. But you don't get to define me anymore. That is what healing can sound like. Not loud, not dramatic, but steady. And sure, and slow. You are not too much, you are not too late, you are not unworthy. You are healing, even now, even here, even in the shame. And if you need to be reminded again tomorrow, this voice will still be here. You are learning to come home to yourself. Without judgment, without punishment, without shame. And I'm proud of you, whether you believe that yet or not. Let's talk about something most people don't know how to talk about. Loneliness. Not the kind you can fix with a phone call. Not the kind that disappears when you're around others. I'm talking about the kind that sits with you, even when you're surrounded by people. The kind that creeps in late at night, or in the middle of conversations where you feel like a stranger. It's the kind of loneliness that makes you wonder if anyone truly sees you. Not the version of you they expect, not the smile you put on, not the performance, just you. You've probably had moments where you looked around and thought, I could disappear, and no one would even notice. That kind of loneliness is heavy, it's quiet, but it's loud inside. And it doesn't always come from being alone. Sometimes it comes from not being known. From holding back pieces of yourself, from feeling like your presence isn't needed, or worse, not wanted. Let's be honest, there are versions of you no one's ever met. There are thoughts you've never spoken. Jokes you swallowed, stories you left out, tears you saved for the bathroom mirror. Because maybe, at some point, you learned that being real wasn't safe. That vulnerability meant rejection. That the parts of you that needed the most love were the ones that scared people away. So you learned to shrink, to edit, to perform, to stay quiet, to be low maintenance. And now the loneliness has a voice, and it says things like, you're too much. You're not enough. You don't belong anywhere. But I want you to know something. Just because they didn't know how to hold you, doesn't mean you're unholdable. Just because they didn't ask, doesn't mean your stories weren't worth telling. Just because you were left, doesn't mean you were unlovable. Loneliness has a way of turning into self-blame. But the truth is, sometimes people just didn't know how to stay. Sometimes they were too wrapped up in their own world, or too distracted, or too scared. That has nothing to do with your worth. Maybe no one ever told you this, so let me, you are not hard to love. You may have been deeply misunderstood, but that doesn't mean you're broken. You may have adapted to silence, but your voice still matters. You may feel invisible sometimes, but you are still real. There is a version of you beneath the numbness, beneath the exhaustion, beneath the I'm fine, and that version of you, the quiet, soft one, they still deserve to be seen. Loneliness convinces us that connection isn't safe. That people only want the filtered version, that no one could handle the truth. But here's what I believe. Your truth isn't too much, your emotions aren't too loud, your existence doesn't require justification. Maybe you were never truly mirrored. Never really asked, who are you under all that survival? So I'll ask it now, gently, quietly. Who are you, when you're not trying to be okay? Who are you, when you let the silence speak? Who are you, when no one's watching? If you don't know the answer, that's okay. You're not behind, you're not lost. You're just reconnecting, and reconnection takes time. So here's a thought. Maybe loneliness isn't just a craving for people. Maybe it's a longing to return to yourself. The parts of you had to bury to fit in. The voice you silenced to keep the peace. The joy you forgot you could feel. You're not looking for a crowd. You're looking for resonance, for spaces where your presence feels like it matters, where you're not explaining yourself every 5 minutes, where you're not choosing between truth and acceptance. Those spaces exist. They may be rare, but they exist. And more importantly, you can become one of those spaces for yourself. You can learn to hold your own hand, to sit with your feelings without judging them, to say, "You're allowed to feel this. I'm not leaving you." That's what presence is. And right now, that's what this voice is offering you. You're not being asked to fix anything, to reach out, to socialize, to explain, just to sit, to breathe, to notice the part of you that still wants connection. Because underneath the armor, beneath the fatigue, there's still a spark. Still a soft part that wants to be known, not used, not managed, not pitted, known. So let's try something. Let's speak directly to that part of you, the lonely part. Here we go. Asterisk, hey. I know it's been a long time since you felt held. Asterisk. I know you've learned how to make yourself smaller to stay safe. I know you've convinced yourself that your presence doesn't matter. But it does. You matter. Even when it feels like no one's noticing. Even when the room is quiet. Even when the texts go unanswered. Your existence still means something. And I'm not leaving. Let that sink in. No performance, no explanation, no proving, just being. That's enough. You're enough. And if this loneliness feels endless, just know it isn't. Connection is still possible. Even if it looks different now, even if it's slower, even if it starts with you. This moment right here, you listening, me speaking, this is a form of connection. It may be quiet, it may be digital, but it's real. You are not forgotten, you are not invisible, you are not alone. Even if it's just this voice, in your ears, in this moment, I'm still here. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. You don't have to be ahead, or healed, or certain. You're allowed to just be where you are. Right now, in this exact moment, with everything that's still messy, with everything you still don't understand. Take a breath, a deep one. And then another. There's no rush here, no expectations, no judgment. Just this. This quiet space where you're allowed to pause, to breathe, to rest. You've been doing the best you can. Even on the days it didn't look like much, even when it felt like failure, even when no one else saw the effort it took just to get out of bed. I see it, I see you. And you're doing enough. More than enough. The world moves fast. It tells you to keep going, to be productive, to measure your worth in output. But you are not a machine. You are a person, a soul, a living, breathing, feeling being. You're allowed to slow down, to not have a 5-year plan, to not be okay, to not be constantly working on yourself. Healing isn't linear, growth isn't always visible, progress doesn't always feel like success. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is rest, is soften, is say, I'm trying. That's enough. You don't have to carry everything today. You don't have to fix your whole life this week. You don't have to impress anyone to be worthy of kindness. There is nothing wrong with you. There never was. You've just been taught to believe that love is earned, that peace must be chased, that rest must be justified. But not here, not in this moment. Here, rest is your right. Here, peace is already yours. Here, you don't have to fight for approval. Just take a breath and know that this moment is enough, that you are enough. You don't have to keep explaining yourself or proving that you're trying. You're allowed to be tired. You're allowed to be unsure. You're allowed to change your mind. You don't have to be perfect to deserve softness, to deserve support, to deserve grace. If the thoughts come, the ones that say you're falling behind, remind them. There's no timeline for healing. There's no deadline for becoming, no clock ticking in the background of your worth. You are not late, you are right on time. Even if it doesn't feel like it, even if the world seems like it's moving without you, even if you're still sitting with the same questions. You are still growing, still unfolding, still allowed to begin again, as many times as you need. Nothing disqualifies you from trying again, not your past, not your regrets, not your grief, not your quietest fears. You don't need to be better to be loved. You don't need to be healed to be worthy. You already are, right now, as you are. Let that in, even just a little. Let it soften the tension in your jaw. Let it ease the tightness in your chest. Let it settle the thoughts that tell you you're not doing enough. Because you are, you're here, you're trying, you're breathing. That is not nothing, that is everything. You have survived every moment up until now. That matters, even if you didn't do it perfectly, even if you stumbled through it. You still made it, and you're still making it. You don't need to rush the process. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to be where they are. You only need to be where you are. That's the only place anything begins, from here, from honesty, from slowness, from gentleness. So let's take a moment, right here, right now. Put your hand on your chest, feel the beat beneath your palm. That's you, still alive, still trying, still worthy. You don't need to be anything else right now, you are enough as you are. And if your mind resists that truth, if it argues, just notice it, you don't need to fight it, just return to this. I am trying. I am enough. I can rest. Even if the dishes aren't done, even if the inbox is full, even if the future is uncertain, you are still allowed to rest. The world will wait. Your body needs this. Your mind needs this. Your soul needs this. And when you're ready, not rushed, not pushed, you'll take the next step. But for now, breathe, rest, let it be enough. You're not lazy, you're not broken, you're just tired. And that's okay, that makes sense. You have done more than anyone knows, carried more than most people ever will, held yourself together through storms you couldn't explain. You deserve to be gentle with yourself, to speak softly to your own heart, to say, I'm proud of how far I've come. I'm doing the best I can. That's enough for today. Let those words wrap around you like a blanket. Let them remind you that healing doesn't always look like forward motion. Sometimes it looks like stillness, like silence, like softness. And you are allowed to stay there for as long as you need. Because rest isn't the opposite of healing, it is healing. And right now, you're doing just fine. Before you go, I want to remind you of something important. You are not alone, even when it feels that way. Even when the room is quiet, even when your phone stays silent, even when no one checks in. You are still connected to yourself, to your breath, to this moment. And in this moment, there is nothing you need to do. Nowhere you need to be. No one you need to impress. This is just for you. A soft pause before you return to the world. So let's sit here together for just a little while longer. Let your shoulders drop, Let your stomach unclench. Let your jaw soften. Let your eyes close, if that feels safe. And just breathe. You made it through another hour, another moment, another wave. Maybe you didn't solve anything today, maybe nothing looks different. But inside you, quietly, softly, something shifted. You showed up, you listened, you let something in. That matters. Maybe more than you know. Healing isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's just this, a voice, a breath, a reminder that you're still here. Still worthy, still trying, still allowed to rest. And when the noise creeps back in, when the world gets loud again, I hope you remember this feeling. This softness, this slowness, this safety. You are allowed to return to it whenever you need. This space isn't going anywhere. This voice isn't going anywhere. And neither is your strength, even when you don't feel it. Even when you forget, it's still there, like a quiet ember, still glowing. You are allowed to come back here tomorrow, or next week, or whenever your heart needs a place to land. You don't need permission to rest. You don't need a reason to feel. You don't need to apologize for existing. You are not a burden. You are not falling behind. You are not broken. You are becoming, softly, slowly, in your own way, in your own time. And no matter what today looked like, you're still allowed to be proud. For making it here, for staying, for listening. That took strength, even if no one else saw it, even if you forget tomorrow, even if you downplay it later. It still counts, it still matters. So before we say goodbye, can we do one last thing? Just place your hand on your chest, right where your heartbeat lives. And repeat quietly, or just think it if that feels easier. I am doing the best I can. I am allowed to rest. I am enough. One more deep breath, in through your nose. Out through your mouth. You are doing okay, truly. And if that's hard to believe, borrow my belief in you, until you can feel it for yourself. I'll be here, this voice, this space, this softness, it's always here. For when the world gets too loud, for when your thoughts start racing, for when you forget how to be kind to yourself. Come back, come home, you don't need to earn it. You've already made it. So as you step away, into your evening, your morning, your next breath, carry this truth with you. You are not alone, you are not failing, you are not behind. You are healing, even now, even here, even if you can't see it yet. And I'm proud of you, whether you believe it or not. So for now, gently, quietly, we say goodbye. But not forever, just until next time. This voice will be waiting, this space will stay soft, and you will still be enough. You can go now, you are safe, you are seen, you are held. Goodbye for now, and thank you for being here, for being you.